All right, guys, me and Ace are going to show you how you don't have to spend 1,500, $2,000 for in-dash GPS in a new 2019 Ford Ranger. You can get Mirror Link and MHL and just, mirror your phone and watch DVDs and a number of other awesome, cool things like Maestro data links so you can get a turbo gauge and see all your other gauges and do a number of other things electronically that you should be able to do to your car. So stay tuned. Tell them, Ace, we're going to save you some money. As you can see, I've been having some fun. Usually I'm very orderly, but yeah, it's been interesting. So let me save you all some time. You want to put a head unit in your Ford Ranger and not deal with sync because it's not that great and it's super expensive, and most of the head units they have out now smoke them things anyways. Go this route. It's not perfect right now because they don't have the firmware, but it works. So this will get you started, and I mean it's all you need anyways because the firmware is just going to light up all the OEM extras, which gives you the gauges and digital control of climate and things like that. So that's just all luxury accoutrements anyways. The bread and butter's already right here, boys. So get yourself a Maestro radio replacement. All right. And then get yourself a Maestro FO2. This is all you need. I think there's another one to get the reverse camera totally working, but I'm still dicking with it because things aren't exact, but this will get you 99% of the way, like I said. So, and I'll post what I find out about the other stuff. I have the other one showing up tomorrow. I'll start messing around with that, and yeah, I figured out just about everything else, really. So the first thing you want to do is take your Maestro out of the box. It's just a little black box. There's a bunch of little cables that come with it. But the first thing you want to do is grab the USB cable that comes with it and go to their website. As soon as you go to their website, just plug your thing right in. I had issues. You have to use Internet Explorer. And it kept giving me ActiveX, enable scripting, and JavaScript and all this bullshit. So I tried opening it in Chrome. It hates Chrome. So there's a way to open Internet Explorer in Chrome. If you Google, Internet Explorer browser in Chrome, it'll come up. Use that. Go to the iDataLink website. Plug your Maestro in. It'll just automatically read it and start asking you what kind of car you got. So what I did was I messed around with pretty much every Ford F-150, F-Series, 250s, 350s, the Focus, the Mustang, the Escape, the Transit. I was flashing them all. There's only two different really firmwares out for Ford in the last few years. There was one in 2015 that was different for the Mustang, but everything's completely changed now. So it is what it is right now. But I've seen videos of people's Fords and with their Kenwoods, the gauges are working, the digital climate's working, so this is coming. And I called Maestro, and I talked to one of their engineers, and he said they're working on the firmware right now. And he was glad to hear that I got it to work with one of the other firmwares, and they're working on it. So basically just flash the latest, 2019 Ford F-150, and it'll give you the FO2, I think it's O2BDB firmware, and you're good to go. Once you got that flashed, it'll tell you you're done, and then it'll give you an installation sheet with a wiring guide and everything. This company's great. They give you everything you really need, and these things can go into other vehicles, and it's not done, and you're not wrapped, and they don't own you, and you take it where you want. It's your property. It's I'm not a huge fan of what car companies are doing with the digital offerings. They're really locking out a lot of good features to people. I know it's because of safety, and you got states like California and stuff like that really hunkering down on them, but us as private citizens, we don't have to abide by them same laws. So there's a lot of other better options out there, and this is definitely one of the ways to go. So once you get it flashed, bring the unit back downstairs. Or I brought the unit back downstairs. I've got a laptop in my garage too, but whatever. I just went up and get your wiring harness out. And it's super easy. Basically, you're going to take the unit up. So, I mean, I could have used my laptop downstairs, but this thing's just faster and stuff. So, I mean, you go to iDataLink, go to Maestro. I mean, it'll recognize your unit when you plug it in. You know, it'll ask you for what kind. It'll give you the firmware, tell you what all harnesses are available for it. There's your install guides, different tech notes, if there is any, you know, to help you. Let you choose your steering wheel and delineate the buttons how you like. It's unbelievably customizable. Like I said, but the user should be in control, not the car company or the government. That's for damn sure. So, yeah, there's that. It flashes to your thing and you're pretty much good to go. You take your wiring harness, it'll tell you it's done flashing it. Like right at this screen. Like once you select all these things, you have to punch your radio in and the model and then the actual serial number for your radio, and it'll tag everything into your unit. Then as soon as you click the model number, it flashes the unit, and the green bar goes by, tells you it's done, and you're good to go. And then you can go to your install guide, and, you know, it's all right there. I mean, you're basically plugging in three harnesses into the truck, and that's it. And then you're plugging the rest into the iDataLink, and then you got to splice a bunch into your harness for your radio. But it's all spelled out right there. And the speakers are literally the same as the Kenwood. So are the power and the grounds. These are a little bit different, some of the accoutrements, but you really only need that for your reverse camera, and you want to ground out your e-brake so you can, not be limited while you're driving. My kid likes to watch DVDs while we're moving, so no big deal. And you plug one into your OBD port. That's it. It's the two bottom harnesses on the radio and the OBD port. And I don't even think the OBD port's even needed right now because none of the extra stuff is even in there because it's not the firmware for this truck. So it's like, you know, this thing's great because it reads your OBD port too. You can check your engine codes and it's awesome. Maestro's iDataLink's really cool. Everybody, you should check it out totally. Grab one if you don't. Use my install guide. I got links at the bottom. You know, this is the only way to fly, no matter what car you got. And they've got harnesses for whatever car that's just as easy. You literally do the same step. You go, you flash it, it gives you this guide, you go do it, and you're done. And like I said, there's that fascia piece too for the Ford Ranger that I ordered. That's the only part I'm waiting for to complete it. And it'll close everything up and make it look sexy like it was, you know, installed in the truck out of the factory. So you're going to go to body, instrument panel, housing assembly at 2019 Ford Ranger, and there she is right there. That little piece right there. 04302. That's your front fascia for your head unit. It's part number 2104302. Only comes in black as far as I know. It's $30. That's the piece right there. That guy right there. The hazard light goes in the middle, and then the head unit fits in that big giant hole. So the next part's usually a super pain in the butt, but honestly, it really wasn't that hard on this vehicle. Like, I've done it on vehicles that are 10 times worse. Yeah, so let us begin. Basically, you're just gonna start popping because that's how this works. There's these little white clips. It seems like you're breaking it, but you ain't. So just give her a yank. So you basically got these little white clips on here. So just look for those, make sure you didn't lose any, and you're fine. That's pretty much what's doing it. So you're going to rip these pieces off. You're going to rip this other piece off over here. This middle piece comes out. These things are great vinyl trim tools. You don't scratch nothing, you know, it's the only way to fly. So, there's that. There's 3 pieces. Basically, you got this piece and this piece on the side. You're going to yank these off too. There you go. And there's another one right on the other side, just like that too. And you're pretty much ready. You've stripped it down to what it's going to be. So I've pretty much finished it, so it's kind of hard to show you at this point, but it's really that easy. Like they print you that schematic upstairs that I showed you right on the iDataLink site. So you're really just going to take 2 harnesses and clip them in there, and it's good to go. Like, you don't have to do a lot of chopping or nothing to a bunch of the wires. The only thing I had to do as far as cutting was a little modification. So it's not necessarily gone, but you know. Basically, the climate control and the radio, that's the one I have. Now, if you've got a Sync 3 already and you just want to replace it with a better head unit, you've already got the fascia piece that I talked about that's $30, and you don't have to dick with this part, which is kind of a pain in the ass. You know, factory garbage. So, anyways, the 212-volt plugs actually come down. So there's a bolt here on the bottom, another bolt here. They come out, and then this part pops downwards. And then you're going to expose 2 bolts in the middle, right back in here, in the middle of this climate control thing. They're kind of like right here. There's 2 of them, and they're underneath the 2 cigarette lighters. So once you pop those 2 outside bolts and drop the cigarette lighter down, there's 2 bolts right there. You pull those out. There's a bolt there. These are all 7mm. And then there's another one there and there. And then that entire control for climate control and this piece come off together as one giant piece. All right. Now, these 2 front pieces are connected, but they're connected on the back. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. So when you take it off, now mind you, I've got the climate part stuck to this thing, right? So behind it, there's the climate part right here. There's a whole nother motherboard on the back of that part. And then this plastic black piece covers all of it. Now, I cut this piece out, and the rest of it's still on there. So there's basically, when you pop this back piece off, it's a bunch of Torx, and they're really tiny. There's like 16 little Torx screws to get this black plastic piece off of that whole big unit with the climate control on it. Now, there's 2 motherboards. This little ribbon connects the 2 motherboards. So you pop that back off with the 16 Torx, you pop this little ribbon, And then there's going to be another 4 additional Torx that are even smaller. I think they're number 6. So it's like number 8 and number 6 torque heads, which is insanely small, like precision size. So, and then this piece comes off with the motherboard, but the back piece is still one big giant piece. So I kind of just hacked it off of the middle of it, right? So like that was the space I needed. You know, and they'll have kits for this thing later, so I don't even care. And I mean, it'll still mount. I cut it in a way so it'll still mount if I decide to put the other one back. I can still mount it in there. So essentially, you can see that black piece is still... See the little rivets in it and the crisscrosses, just like on this piece. So I basically just cut that out. Right? Now this is pretty much the area that's going to show on that. Get down! Get down! So anyways, besides Jerk decided to put his dick beaters